Hey everyone, this is Robert, and I'm really excited to do this. So, thank you so much for tuning in to Station Square. We have another special guest in the corner. We have Miss Angela. Thank you so much for joining me on this morning's podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, would you like to share how this year's been going for you so far and how you doing? And yeah, just do the usual icebreaker stuff that I do on the show.
Yeah, of course. So this year, it's been a lot this year. It's been a little crazy, a little exciting. I just finished my sophomore year of college, which I can't believe I'm already done with that. We did a fun play. We did Lysistrata, which was so much fun. We had an amazing director. Um, what else? Yeah, it's been a really cool year. Got some new jobs, but most of the things that I have acting wise and voiceover wise, I'm doing this summer and coming up. So it's been a fun year and just getting ready for the things that I have coming up. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, and I suppose this is stuff that we could probably talk about like later on during the interview. But
Yes.
yeah, as of right now, I kind of wanted to know from you what was something that kind of, sort of was the genesis of your whole acting journey of something that really made you wanted to start doing a lot of this crazy stuff that you're doing right now.
This is such an exciting question. It all started when I was in like elementary school and middle school when we did school musicals and we did like the Christmas musicals every single year. So that really started everything. It just started the passion and the love for the performing arts and then getting reactions from the audience and collaborating with teachers and other students at the time. It was just so much fun and so fulfilling. And then around COVID times, which was a hard time for many, myself included, but it really was the start of my TV and film career and my voiceover career because that's when I started Holy Driver and I started diving into the world of voiceover thanks to my dad. He really helped me a lot with that. So that's how I really got started.
Yep, I guess you kind of have to owe it to your dad or just family in general for really getting you to start.
Yes, I do. My dad, he has been in the industry for 9 years now. So around like 2020 is when he started introducing me to the professional side of things in TV and film and even voiceover work too. So he really helped me get started. And I've been working on a lot of projects with him and some upcoming projects with him as well. So it's very special to get to do that with family.
Yeah, and what would you say were some of the most exciting projects or just some of the most creatively fulfilling and I guess in a way challenging that you've worked on, just not just for this year, but just in general throughout your career?
Yeah, I have a few answers for this. So definitely like my first professional project was Holy Driver. It's a mini series. It was challenging in the sense that it was my first time doing TV professionally, but everyone was so supportive. Like our director Gavin was so supportive and so collaborative and really working with us and bringing ourselves to the table, which is always so much fun and appreciated. And the role that I play, her name is also Angela, which I love, but she's very similar to me, but also she's an extension of me and she's a little bit more confident than I am, a little bit more tough than I am. So it's kind of fun to explore those sides. Another very creatively fulfilling project was a short film that I did last summer called The Virtue Shop, a character very similar to me, but also different in some ways. So it's always fun to have similarities and differences. You can bring yourself to the character, but also have a challenge. And that project was so much fun. The whole crew and cast were amazing to work with. And I got to travel to Boston, which was so much fun. Then I would say the most challenging was something this year. I was in Lysistrata, which I mentioned before, at my university, and I was playing Kalanike. And that show is so like cheeky and naughty, and it was definitely a challenge. And I never thought I'd be able to play a role like that that's so comedic and so cheeky, I guess. But Ty, our director, was very supportive, Ty Greenwood, and really pushed me to be a lot more brave in the roles that I take on. So that's been some of the highlights, I guess, the most creatively fulfilling and challenging equally roles that I've had. And some things I have coming up too. Holy Driver season 2 is really stepping up. We're stepping up our game from last season. So my character, who's also Angela, she's going to be going through some different things, which is going to be a challenge, but also really exciting to do. Then we have a feature film called The Hollow Man coming up with another very exciting character and an audio drama that I'm in called The Fate of Core, which I'm recording for some stuff soon. And my character, she's like the embodiment of all like the fantasy novels I read and stuff. So it's so much fun to sort of live vicariously through her.
Yeah, right on. And what is something that you love so much about your acting journey? Something that you really cherish so much?
Yeah, this is such a good question. I think one of the things that I definitely cherish the most is just the connections with people and working with different people and seeing like what other ideas people have and seeing their journeys and learning about them and their careers and collaborating with them. I've made so many valuable friendships in my career and even met people that are almost like family. So it's really special just to connect with people and share the joy of what we do with other people, which I'm sure you can relate to as well.
Oh, don't I know it? So I kind of wanted to ask you, what is something that's been really keeping you so just you still have the joy and just so like very positive about, everything. Like what is something that's been really keeping you just grounded throughout the year?
Well, thank you for asking that, and thank you for noticing. That means a lot to me. What what it is for me is my faith. I'm a very faith-filled person. I've had my faith my entire life pretty much. So, my faith in God and my relationship with him, it keeps me positive and it keeps me going. An important lesson that I have learned about joy, especially this year, because college is very hard, as I'm sure you may know, and a lot of other people that are listening may know. College is hard and it takes a lot from you and it really pushes you and challenges you. But what I learned is that joy doesn't come from the things of the world. Like what the world gives, it can't take away, is one of my favorite little sayings. So finding the joy within and the joy in who I am and who God made me and realizing how much God loves me and everything and just finding that joy and the worth in him has really helped me stay positive and stay joyful throughout everything.
Yeah, amen. So, if you were to think back to something like that was very pivotal in your life that reminds you why you love performing, what would you say that this one moment really changed the outlook of how you approach acting or just life in general, and
Oh,
including
this
your
is
faith
so
in a way?
good. Ah, such a good question. There are a few moments. So even though you asked for just one, I'll give you a few because they're all so different. But definitely, there was one moment when I was on the set of The Virtue Shop last summer, and I was just sitting there. They were doing the lighting around me and everything, and I had this feeling inside me like this is what I meant to do. And I just felt so fulfilled in that moment. Even just something as simple as sitting and having the lighting be around me. I really felt like this is what I was meant to do. And then I had the crew being like, you look so good on camera and everything, which was so sweet of them to say. So just that validation from the people I was working with and just being able to sit in it and realize like, wow, I get to do this. That is probably the one of the most pivotal moments. And then I guess as well for another moment that I have was the Holy Driver season two premiere that we had back in November. And I had so many people coming up to me after and just saying like how much they enjoyed watching me. And I sing in the show and they loved how I was singing and even being in the theater and watching myself come on the screen, which is such a surreal experience. I saw people around me laughing and cheering and going, ooh, and little reactions like that. So those are definitely two moments that have been very memorable for me. And I guess faith-wise, I like to say that I do everything that I do for God. So I like to invite him into all of my moments and what I do, both in my personal life and my professional life. So I have him be a part of that. So that really helps me both in my faith journey and in my creative journey, just involving him in everything.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of segues into my next question. How would you say that, your faith is such a very large part of your acting journey and just, like I mentioned, just life and how it all plays a huge part in everything that you do?
Yeah, it's definitely what it is for me and what I've learned, especially in college and even beforehand. Like, I guess during around COVID times as well, just having him, inviting him to be a part of everything. Like, what I always think about is he cares about us so much that he wants to know everything about us and he wants us to know about him. So I talk to him throughout the day. I invite him to be a part of everything. I really spend time learning about him and spending time with him and reading the word and things like that. So I can just strengthen that relationship. So I have a strong relationship and a strong foundation. And I learned that my worth and identity is in him. And I know in this career, as maybe you've experienced and maybe a lot of other people have experienced, we get so caught up in, oh, I didn't book this thing or, oh, I didn't get this call back. And we place our worth and identity in that. But I learned that whenever we place our worth and identity in the Lord who made us, that it makes us feel so much more confident, so much more loved. And suddenly we have the confidence and we're able to say, okay, I didn't get this role or I didn't get this thing, but it wasn't for me. And I know what is for me is going to come from me. And even though I didn't get this thing doesn't mean that I'm a bad actor or actress. It just means that it wasn't right for me.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of wanted to hear your testimony of how you came to know Christ.
I love this question. Oh, this is so good. So I am very blessed and thankful that I have a family who has been so strong in their relationships with Christ. So definitely from when I was little, ever since I can remember, I remember him being such a huge part of my life. And I'm very grateful for that because not everybody can say that. I think definitely like I keep going back to the COVID times because I was very lonely. I felt very alone. When I was little, especially, I used to get bullied a lot. And in those moments, and even some moments recently in college, because college is hard, but we're doing it. There have been so many moments of just the loneliness and then not feeling good enough and things like that. But I found in those moments is when I really found him. And I just realized how much he loves me and how much he cares about me and how, like I said before, my worth is in him and not in anything, which is kind of hard because I'm the type of person that likes to have a plan and control everything. But realizing I can let go and how much of a blessing letting go of all of that is has really helped bring peace and joy into my life. So, yeah, he's always been there, but definitely in those low moments that I've experienced, I realized just the vastness of how much he loves and cares for us. So that's really helped me, but I'm very fortunate that I've known him my whole life, and every day I make an active decision to strengthen my relationship with him and try to do what he wants me to do.
Of course. And because you've done a lot of acting, done so much like in your career that it's going to be impossible to cover everything in just one in one episode. So what was something that, kind of started to, like what was something that also made you decide, okay, maybe I could probably do a little bit of voice acting, or how did you discover it? And yeah, because you've done all this acting for so long, how did you kind of, I guess, learn about VO and just kind of started doing that alongside on camera and theater and, the whole shebang?
Yeah, I love this question. It's such kind of like a funny and unconventional story of how I discovered voice acting. So I love telling this story and I don't get to tell it a lot. So I was a part of a youth group at like the local church, and it was after I started doing Holy Driver, so everybody knew that I did the acting in the theater and stuff. And there was a local radio station that was looking for teens and people my age to do some voiceover for their radio station for their rosary because they record rosaries and then they play them and then yeah, people can pray along with them. So I was at my youth group, and the youth group director at the time came up to me and she was like, "Hey, this radio station's looking for some teens to do some voiceover work to pray the rosary. Why don't you do it?" So I was like, "Okay." So they came to our youth group and I led the rosary, and there were some other kids that were doing it with me, which was really fun. Then after I did that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to do this. Like, I have to do even more." So that's how I got started. And then I just did like some searching. I do play some video games with friends, so I was able to find different voice actors and just sort of listen to how they do it. And then I always have to shout out and plug Skills Hub, which is how we met. So then I found Skills Hub and started taking classes on there, and that's how I got started.
Yeah, and would you say that with acting, with VO, would you say that you're kind of like, how familiar were you with voiceover like prior to, I guess, when you first got your start?
I, of course, knew it was a thing, but I didn't really think about it that much, I guess. So I definitely knew about it, but it wasn't really something that I knew I could pursue until it just happened at youth group. So it was something very new to me before I started.
Okay, and would you say that it was kind of like a smooth transition because you've already done acting and stuff, or were there still kind of like, some stuff that you had to learn along the way as you were kind of learning the ropes and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I will say it's sort of 50-50. Like the stuff that was smooth is that I already had a foundation acting and I learned through like skills have been taking classes that acting is such an important part of voiceover because it's not just the voice, it's the acting. So I'm glad that I had already learned like the foundational skills, but definitely things that were new to me were things like how to work with a mic and which one is right for you. That took a while to figure out which mic was right for me, how to sound treat your room and everything like that. So all of the technical aspects were definitely very new to me.
Oh yeah, there's just a lot of technology and a lot of stuff that we have to, you know, because you were mentioning like COVID and how, and with everybody just being on their, um, just having their setups, like everything, and just having to figure out how to sound treat their room, their closet, boots, and everything. So it's just, kind of like I don't want to say it's a culture shock, but it's like, oh wow, because I knew that a lot of actors had they did record from home, but it was just kind of something that was just kind of like the norm, once everything hit and we were just kind of on lockdown the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because I know you mentioned skills up, so how would you say that, being on there was kind of really helpful when it comes to learning about voiceover and, you know, the so on and so forth?
Oh, it is so helpful. Like, I cannot express enough how helpful it is. Because when I first joined, which was like, gosh, 2 or 3 years ago now, which is crazy to think about, I was definitely like, I knew acting and everything. Because, like, we talked about before, I had experience in TV and film and theater, but voiceover was so new to me besides doing it the one time. So it really helped me so much because I got to take improv classes and the start at class with Jennifer Hale and find the coaches that are right for me and also create friendships and bonds and relationships with so many people and make so many new friends like you and some other people that we know. So it's really just helped me form this community and give me the tools and the steps that I need to take to continue to get better. And like even that I am, booking stuff, I still take classes and I still take lessons because I know that we can always get better and we can always learn. So I'm so grateful with Skills Hub especially that they really tailor it to you and they can give you exactly what you need or what you need help with or what you're looking for. So it's been so helpful to me in my journey. I wouldn't be here in my voice acting career without it for sure.
Absolutely. So, what is something that do you have like any major like because I already mentioned like achievements and goals, but what is something else that you're also the really most proud of this year? Just it doesn't have to be necessarily acting, but just stuff in general that you could say that you're like, I did this.
Oh, I love this question. Oh, this is such a hard one to answer too, because there's been like so many little moments, I guess, that not really one stands out. But I guess if I had to pick one, I would go back to doing Liz Estrada just because I never thought I would be brave enough to play Kalanike and to dive into that character who is so vastly different from me because she's been the most different. But then realizing, like, being on that stage for those 2 weeks that we did the show and just like, wow, like, I did it. Like you said, I did this. And having that support of the cast and Ty, it really meant a lot. And that was definitely the most challenging character I've ever had. But doing that too, it also made me more brave as a performer. And now, like, whenever I audition for things, whether it's TV or film or voiceover or whatever it may be, I'm like, yeah, I can try this character that may be different or may be challenging because I did it before. There's been auditions I've been doing recently that I have been a little bit braver with, like I've talked about, and going out for things that I was maybe afraid to go through before, be like, oh, I could never do this. So I think that's really helped me playing this role in all aspects of my career and my personal life, just increasing my confidence and my belief in myself to do those harder things.
Yeah, and as far as social media goes, would you say that, making content has also been very like sufficient when it comes to getting your name out there, as part of your journey?
Oh, that's such a good question. See, content for me is always hard because I love making it and like I love posting for fun, but it hasn't like gotten anywhere, like not too popular or anything. But one thing that Skills Hub has taught me is that voiceover, and I'm sure you've learned this too, is a brand, which I never really thought about before. Like you're your own brand and you're your own manager and everything, and you really have to market yourself. So I do think that social media is a great tool, and sort of how I've been trying to use it too is just being like, hey, this is me, and this is what I do, and this is about me, and just getting yourself out there so people get to know you a little bit more.
Exactly. And because you see a lot of content like on TikTok or YouTube where people would just post like, "Hey, this is voiceover," but being yourself is kind of something that's like really important, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that we don't want to like with a lot of the our attention spans and everything, especially, it's like we just kind of don't really want to like specifically focus on all VO all the time. Just talk about something that makes you or that what glorifies God, or just something that gives
Yeah.
you the so much peace and joy, just being a part of, just don't be afraid of putting yourself out there is pretty much the thing that I, always advise everybody to start doing when it comes to content.
Yes, so true.
Yeah. So for you, because I know you have like, I know I said TikTok, YouTube, and some other social media content. Like, was it kind of like a spur of the moment that you decided to start, posting stuff on there? Like, I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, so this is also a silly story that I haven't talked about too much before, but this is kind of like so I don't know. It's so silly, but when I was like 10, I used to have a Disney Princess like fan page that I used to run on Instagram, and I ran it for like 5 years. So I just like would start posting like Disney Princess content on there. So that's sort of like how I just got the idea for it. I don't even remember how I started it. I think I started it with like my best friend at the time, and we were just like posting Disney Princess stuff on our accounts. And then I deleted that and I realized like, oh, I can post about myself. I'm old enough now. So that's sort of how I started. So again, another silly journey, but that's how it started.
Yeah, and you're kind of pretty much a triple threat, like being an actress, a singer, a dancer, doing VO. No, like not a triple threat, a quadruple threat, if you may. So, yeah, managing all of that. Tell us about it. Trying to juggle
Cool.
it all.
Yeah. Again, excellent questions. Um, it definitely is a balancing act and something that I had to, I guess, learn, especially in college. Like I've said 20 times, college is hard. Um, so I think it's just like making sure I'm dedicating time to practice and getting better in each area and just looking for jobs that's in theater and TV and film and voiceover, trying to diversify myself. I have one coach, Tice, shout out to Tice, that has always told me like the more that you do, the more able you are to book things and like really diversifying yourself, it's going to keep you working in this industry. So just making sure that I'm spending time to practice and hone my skills on each of the areas. That's sort of how I balance it. There are definitely times where like one side will take the forefront and sometimes I will backslide on the other things, but it's just a part of life. So it really is just trying your best to keep up with it, but learning that also it's okay if one becomes a priority because it's natural for one to be the main focus at any given time.
Yeah, and regarding SAG-AFTRA, because I know that you're kind of a member there, so,
I
and
am,
I know we
yeah.
kind of had a little bit of a strike going on, so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, just share with us about your whole journey of being a SAG-AFTRA member.
Yeah, so I joined SAG about, I guess, a year or so into being in Holy Driver, which was definitely, I would recommend it, especially for people like I started when I was a minor, and it gives so many protections. And I feel like this is often overlooked. It gives so many protections for people who are minors that it really helps you feel safe on set. And one thing, too, that I really liked they have a SAG after app for members. And I know this has given my parents and friends and I so much security. It's like there is a button that you can press, like if you get harassed or something, God forbid, and you can press it and you can like contact somebody from the union. So I think the protections in SAG is so worth it, especially like with the AI stuff going around like it really and we went on strike because of that. So I think it just is a great thing because it just offers so many protections and helps you to be secure. Definitely sometimes with booking things like there are a lot of non-union things which is hard because most likely and most often we can't do those things, but the things that are the SAG after jobs, they're equally as fun and fulfilling. So it's definitely like yeah, a decision that people have to make if they want to join or not, but I definitely do think it has so many benefits and I felt so much safer and protected. And even like I've noticed too, there are so many scams and things like that with auditions, which I know happens a lot in voiceover that things may not be true. But being in SAG just has an extra layer of protection, like, yeah, this project is signatory, so I know that I'm not getting scammed for what I'm auditioning for.
Yeah, and I suppose you want to also give a shout out to your agents over at CESD for making a lot of this
Yes.
happen.
Yes. Oh, they're the sweetest people in the world. Yes. Shout out to Melissa at CESD and Salem, her assistant. I'm very grateful for them. And they came into my life as such a blessing because I didn't expect to get into them, the agency to get into CESD at all. But I'm so grateful that, the Lord brought it for me. And they are the sweetest agents in the whole world. They're the nicest people ever.
Yeah, but speaking of the Lord, just going back to some of the, faith-based questions, what was the moment that you just really wanted to start, I guess, sharing about your love of Christ over, I mean, on the internet? Because I know it might seem like a pretty scary thing to do at first, but you know what? It's something that it does say in the Bible, like, just go out and, reach disciples. And yeah, just wanted to know from you, like, how would you say that it's been just so not therapeutic, but just something that just really fills your heart as you share about it to those out there on the interwebs, so to speak?
Yeah. Again, amazing question. You are so good at this. I would say for me, like have been blessed to know the Lord pretty much my whole life. And something that I realized, especially when I started college, because I did school online like through middle school and high school, which has really helped me in my acting world because it gave me the opportunity to do all the things I started doing and to really get started. But going to college, like it was kind of a culture shock in a way that, oh, not everybody believes. And because I'm so used to being surrounded by people that do, especially like going to youth group and stuff. So I just sort of realized it made me sad whenever I saw people that didn't know Jesus and that were going through struggles or anything that didn't know him because I realized in my own life like how amazing he is and how much he loves us and how much he completely transforms our lives for the better and how much joy and peace that we can find in him even when we go through the hard things because yeah, it's not easy, but knowing that he's with us, it makes it better to cope with everything that we go through. So just seeing people in college and realizing like, oh, they don't have what I have with the Lord and I want people to know him like I know him and I want them to have that relationship with him because it is so good. That's sort of what motivated me to start posting about him and sharing about him. And then yeah, then the more that I did it, the more that I felt better. And like you said, the Bible instructs us to reach people, and that's what Jesus wants. He wants us to tell other people about him and, to love other people like he would. So that's sort of how I got the confidence and started doing that. And it is really fulfilling to give other people that maybe think like, oh, they might have, and I've experienced this at college, they might have a certain view of Jesus or of the Bible or church or Christians in general and they may feel afraid. But me acting how Jesus wants us to act, just by being kind and loving and open, and everybody is welcome with Jesus, and like his arms are open, like the table is set for people to come. So just being that positive example for Jesus, especially for people who may have been hurt by the religion before, and just sort of being like, no, this is who Jesus actually is. So that's very fulfilling.
Which Bible verses left such a big impact on your life and were applicable in your journey?
Oh, okay. I love this question. So my favorite one is Esther 4:14, where it's Esther, debating about, oh, I don't know if I should tell the king about, Haman's plot with the Jews and everything. And Mordecai tells her, well, I'll paraphrase it because there's so many different translations, of course. But basically, he's saying, perhaps you were made for such a time as this. And that has been one of my favorite things because it's a reminder for me personally that I'm here in this time for a reason and that I have a purpose and a calling.
I really love that verse. For me, it's always Isaiah 43:10. Look, for I am doing a new thing. I'm making a valley,
Oh,
and yeah,
yes.
and also Psalms 23:91, just so good. Man, it's just
Oh,
so
yeah.
way too many that I would mention here, but yeah, I'm just gonna keep flooding it with Bible verses for the most of this podcast. So, what is something that has also helped you a lot as a child of God?
Ooh, I guess a good lesson that I learned is that how important having a like-minded community is and people that also believe. Because I've been in relationships and friendships with people who didn't really believe, and I just realized like, because I wanted to share Jesus with them and bring them to him, but then also there are times that I've realized that it's okay. Like it's not our job to automatically fix it. Like we planted the seeds and that's enough. But I realized how important it is to have friends and family and community that also believe because you can pray for each other and you can lift each other up. And when you go for advice, it's biblically sound advice. And just like, especially even with you on this podcast here, like being able to talk about it and feeling welcome to talk about it and sharing your faith with others. So having that like-minded community and friendship has really helped me
Yeah.
as well. And I realized, especially in college, how important it is.
And it just helps people just take it the first step in faith, when we're doing
Yes.
something like this. Yeah. So, do you know if there's any big plans that the Lord is calling for you for the rest of 2025?
Oh, such a good question. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure. It's something I pray about all the time. But what I will say is that every day, the first thing I do when I wake up is I say, "Good morning, Jesus." And I always ask him to fill my mind with his thoughts instead of my thoughts. And I just ask him each and every morning that each day I will do what he is calling me to do. So I don't know exactly the plans that he has for me at this moment, but what I do know is that every day I'm going to ask him to guide me into doing what he wants me to do. So I'm just going to keep moving forward and see what he has.
Yeah. And what would be your final thoughts and advice that you want to close out with?
Oh, I love this question. I would say the last thing. I mentioned this on my friend DJ's podcast, No Words Left Unspoken. But and because she quoted me on this, and I was like, "Oh, that was a good quote, Angela. I did really good." So I'm going to repeat it here. But I was basically saying that if you feel the desire that you're meant to be in this industry, you are truly meant to be in this industry. Because I believe that there is a place for everyone, whether it's theater, TV, VO, film, anywhere, that there is a place for you and there's a role for you and there's a story to tell. And that if you strongly feel that desire and you meditate on it and you pray about it and you ask the Lord to align your will with his and you still feel that desire, then you're meant to be in this industry. Because I've had my own doubts, like, oh, am I meant to do this? Is this even for me? But through prayer and just through trying and learning and connecting with people, I realized, yeah, if you're meant to be in this industry, you'll be in it. If you have the desire, you have it for a reason. And I really believe that there's a role and a place for everybody in this industry, and that everybody has something so good and unique and special to bring to the table. And so many people are going to be so excited to see what you have to offer.
Yeah, I definitely just all of this. Yes. So, what are your socials? List upcoming stuff that you could talk about? Just self
Yeah.
promo time.
So my Instagram is ANGEKUZEL. And then I think that's also my YouTube at as well. And then my TikTok is ANGELAKUZEL. Some upcoming things, the Fate of Core podcast where I voice Adele, who is my little elf. I love her so much. She is an actual elf, which is so exciting. I'm living my fantasy dreams through her. And that's Fate of Core Pod on Instagram. And then anywhere that you listen to podcasts and audio dramas, you can listen to that. And then let's see, the official Holy Driver on Instagram for the Holy Driver updates, and the Hollow Man movie official, I believe, on Instagram for the Hollow Man that we are filming pretty soon. So I'm excited to continue with Holy Driver and Fate of Core and to start the Hollow Man. The Hollow Man I'm so excited for. That whenever I first started reading the script and the concept, I was like, wow, this is something new that I've never seen before. This is so exciting. So I can't wait to film that and for that to be out. And I can't wait for everyone to see what's coming up for my character in Holy Driver and to be introduced to my character in the Fate of Core.
Amen. So, for something fun, I usually do an outro, and since you are a singer, if you'd like to probably sing like
Ooh.
this bit, go ahead. But what I usually do is I have the guest say, "Hi, my name is Angela. You've heard me on this, and this is Station Square Podcast with Robert Jackson. If you want to sing it or just, yeah, go nuts."
Oh, this is so much fun. Okay,
Yeah, whenever you're
hopefully I'm
ready.
doing it right. Okay, so here's our little outro. Hi, my name is Angela Kuzel. You've heard me in the Fate of Core audio drama, upcoming role as Adele, Holy Driver as Angela Schmidt, upcoming The Hollow Man as Emily Holloway, The Haunting of Prince Don Pedro as Peyton, and The Virtue Shop at Max. And you're listening to Robert Jackson's Station Square. Bye!
Yeah, and should we? Do you want to do a little singing, Samuel, to close this out?
Ooh, sure, I'll do a little sing. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, there we go. Like we would probably do like a full on cover of something, but I don't really.
We should.
Yeah, but like if it was a song that you know from like a music or just favorite Disney, because you mentioned Disney, so I was just like, yeah,
Well, my favorite princess is definitely Aurora from Sleeping Beauty, and I'm so blessed to be able to be friends with her thanks to Enchanted Experiences. So, oh, I love Sleeping Beauty. We should do some Disney covers. I also love the old Barbie movies. So good. If you know any of those songs, we should sing those too.
yeah, maybe for a different episode in the near future. But regardless,
Yes.
thank you so much for watching Station Square Podcast, and there will be more episodes on the way. And for my closing thing, just do it. And until next time, folks, God bless, stay lovely, and thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Peace. Bye.